Okay, let's get started. For this deep dive, our source is the record file.
Right, and we're zoning in on one part called the artificial sky.
Yeah, and it doesn't waste any time. It hits you right away with this really fundamental challenge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What if the world we see, everything around us, isn't actually real? What if it's just like a thin layer over something else, something hidden?
It's a pretty intense
Well,
premise. It's basically designed to make you doubt, well, everything you think you know about the physical world.
yeah, forces you to ask that question.
Yeah.
Could the world I know just be a construction?
Exactly.
So, okay, our mission here is to unpack the specific ideas the source lays out about how reality might be artificial.
And then look at what it suggests might happen if this constructed world started to fail or break down.
Right. Let's dig into these concepts and see what kinds of questions pop up for you listening.
Well, what's really interesting is how it picks out specific things we take for granted. It starts, like, right under our feet.
Mm-hmm. It suggests maybe the planet isn't, a solid globe or even continuous. Maybe it's more like a space.
Delimited.
Yeah, delimited by walls we just never detect. The text kind of speculates that we don't see them just because we weren't, like, taught to even look.
Which, I mean, that makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How much is our perception just shaped by what we expect to see?
Totally. And it doesn't stop there with the ground. It looks up at the moon.
Okay, yeah, this is where it gets particularly strange. The source literally asks, what if the moon weren't real?
Wow.
Yeah. It suggests it's not a natural satellite, but something else.
Hmm.
Maybe a screen or like a membrane.
It even calls it a soulless witness.
Right. Reflecting only what they want us to remember. It's this idea of a completely curated reality.
So if you connect those dots,
Mhm.
it paints a picture of a totally controlled environment, manufactured experience.
And this doubt, this questioning, it gets applied to geography too.
Oh yeah, it claims that things we think are fixed countries, oceans, continents, they could just be like a stage play.
Displaced, it says. Compressed. Hidden.
It even calls it the construction of nostalgia for a place we never set foot in, suggesting our whole sense of place, even history, might be fake.
So it's questioning the very maps, spatial and temporal, that we use to navigate reality. And it keeps going with this theme of control, even with something as basic as dawn.
Dawn? Wait, how does dawn fit into an artificial sky?
Well, the source poses this question. What if dawn weren't the sun appearing, but a partial revelation?
A partial revelation, meaning...
Meaning maybe it's a moment when some thing or someone
Mm.
decides to show only the part of the world that's, like, authorized for that day.
Huh. So not a natural cycle, but a deliberate unveiling.
Okay.
And the text frames all this unsettling stuff not as some conspiracy theory, but as an obvious warning.
Mhm. And it thinks about the consequences, right?
Yeah.
What if this immense decoration, this artificial sky, actually started to fail?
What would that look like?
It gives this really striking example. If one
Yeah.
day the moon didn't rise, in this constructed world, that's not just an astronomical anomaly. It's a structural collapse.
Right.
The source says it could mean the mirror broke because the mechanics failed.
And that breakdown.
That breakdown might let us begin to see those who held up this immense decoration.
Whoa. Implying there's actually some entity or entities actively maintaining this whole illusion. So what does it say is beyond the sky then, if it's artificial?
It's pretty blunt. It just says, beyond the sky, there are no stars.
No stars.
Suggests our whole reality is just this tiny point on some immense planet, our contained world versus a much bigger unseen reality.
And if it all fails, what about the people, us, inside this construct? Does it suggest, like, a rescue?
No, not at all. The text is quite cold about it, really. It says they're not coming to save them. They're coming to take away the information stored.
Information.
Yeah, stored from many days and many nights. No rescue, just grabbing the data, as if humanity's just recorded information.
That's bleak. And it wraps up with a final thought on the actual end of this reality.
It does. It talks about a declared last day on Earth, but adds that no one will know that truth.
So it just ends.
It's just one more day for each of us, and everything will come to an end. Implying the end isn't some big bang or cosmic event, but just the simulation, the artificial world, shutting down quietly.
Okay. So, to sum up, this source, the artificial sky, it presents this really radical skepticism about, well, everything. The ground, the sky, time, space, suggesting it could all be a carefully maintained illusion.
Yeah, an illusion that, if it fails, doesn't lead to escape, but just a cold stop, a deeply unsettling picture.
So, considering these ideas from the artificial sky, this possibility of a world built on layers with hidden mechanics, maybe even active maintainers, what does it make you question about how you perceive the fundamental reality of the world around you?